Hey guys, Alex MacDonald with Polytech. I am going to do a run through real quick of the hardware we use to produce the show. When I was on Meet the Pros, I accidentally had blur background checked in Skype, so when I tried to show everything, it was super blurry. So now I get a second chance. I am going to jump over to this my iPhone running NDI cam. I will be using the audio on the iPhone, so it's going to be a little bit worse than what you're hearing right now. But bear with me while I switch over. Okay, so this, I guess, is the central hub. This is a 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro, Core i7, I believe. And over here, I run Ecamm Live. This is where I monitor comments and have Skype up and running. Plugged into that is a second display where I am running Google Hangouts inside of Chrome. Now, because we take voice calls, we have a Google Voice number and take live calls during the show, which I highly recommend. But because my co-host Danielle comes in via Skype, I had to figure a way to get Skype to talk to Google Voice or Google Hangouts rather, and vice versa, so that Danielle can both hear and speak to live callers. And you know what? It was a little bit tricky. I ended up going with a piece of software called Audio Hijack Pro. I don't recall who makes it. Rogue Amoeba, possibly, but you guys can look it up. Over there, I have a Mac Mini. It's running this display. This display, on this machine, I run the show notes, a second instance of Google Chrome, and also NDI Scan Converter. So what Scan Converter does is allow me to send any element on this display as a camera source over to Ecamm Live, and Ecamm is able to pull it in. It's just an easy way of screen sharing, to be honest, over the network. They're both plugged in via Ethernet, and you do want to use Ethernet with NDI sources as much as possible. A little Behringer 302 mixer, cheap as chips on Amazon, I think $50, something like that. It has a phantom powered XLR input, and that is hooked up to this Marantz, what is it, an MPM 1000, I believe? Something along those lines, whatever. It's an XLR cardioid mic. It's very good, actually. I like it, and again, cheap as chips. The obligatory Stream Deck, which is fantastic. Right now, the beta of Ecamm Live has native support for the Stream Deck, and when that gets released publicly, I think people are going to love it. Both of these machines are controlled via one keyboard and mouse. Now, I use a virtual KVM software called Synergy. You can see it running up there, that blue and green icon. So what that allows me to do is over the network control both machines. So here's the little mouse on this machine. If I move all the way over to the edge, you'll see it pop up over here, back and forth. If you don't want to use a hardware KVM switch and all the cabling that goes along with it, and you also don't want to use multiple keyboards and mice, a virtual KVM, I think, is the way to go. I happen to use Synergy, but other virtual KVMs are available. Of course, I have a Mac Mini to monitor the stream while we're live. My camera is a Canon T6, Canon EOS Rebel T6. It's relatively old, but it comes in over USB natively to Ecamm Live. I have another camera up here, which I rarely use. This one I use, though. This is a Logitech, I don't know what it is, C920, I believe. And we use that as our close-up cam. Let me stand up. It's a bit messy in here, as is everyone's studio, but I've got a couple of studio lights here, and a large green screen cloth. Let me go past this light. A very large green screen cloth Those are little studio lights. They were cheap on Amazon, but I think I'm going to upgrade those to LED panels. We'll see. And then I have this little beauty. So the only things plugged into my MacBook Pro are power and a Thunderbolt cable. Everything else, all of my cameras, the secondary monitor, my Ethernet, everything, my iOS devices, they all plug into this Thunderbolt hub from OWC, Otherworld Computing, and I highly recommend those. It gives you way more bandwidth than even a USB-C input. 40 megabits per second, I believe, is what's available to me. All right, let me switch back to this camera. There we go, and it automatically muted the iPhone, so that's nice. But that's it. That is our setup in a nutshell. You don't need all of this to get started. A MacBook with a FaceTime camera and some headphones, always use headphones, are more than enough to get you started live streaming. Then you can, if you want, make the jump up to something like this, although the FaceTime cameras, in my opinion, are just as good as this thing. And then eventually a DSLR, whatever takes your fancy. It's very simple to get started, and I highly recommend, if you have something to talk about, get online and do it on Facebook. Hopefully you will join us Monday and Thursdays at 9 p.m. on Polytech. And if you do, we will see you there. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.